Good morning. Let's talk about Psalm 114 today. It's a short psalm. It says, When Israel went out from Egypt, the house of Jacob from a people of strange language, Judah became God's sanctuary, Israel his dominion. The sea looked and fled, Jordan turned back, the mountains skipped like rams, the hills like lambs. Why is it, O sea, that you flee, O Jordan, that you turn back, O mountains, that you skip like rams, and O hills like lambs? Tremble, O earth, at the presence of the Lord, the presence of the God of Jacob, who turns the rock into a pool of water, the flint into a spring of water. What you're seeing on the screen are just some pictures of yards around the church that I took on a walk this morning. And I took those because what came to my heart about this psalm today was how time and time again in the Hebrew scriptures you find references back to the Exodus, to the story of how God set the people free from slavery, led them through the wilderness into the promised land. That was the central story of their identity and their relationship with God. I am the Lord your God who brought you up from the land of Egypt into the promised land. And that's here. It's referenced here in the psalm. And by the way, if you hear crunching in the background, it's recording this while walking on a gravel path. So again, I'm not eating potato chips or something like that while talking. It's just sorry for the background crunching there, but that was their central story. And the Passover, one of the high holy days that is still celebrated to this day, is rooted in that story. A story that they keep going back to year after year and often day after day. Over the next few months, each one of these yards may be filled with things that are going to tell a story, a sign of which candidates that they support, which political party are they in favor of, what direction for our country. Seeing this in the community that I live in right now, we're now up to 3 different signs that people are putting in their yards to kind of say, okay, well, this is who I am and what I believe and what I stand for. And it reminds me that I don't know if we have a common narrative, that we have a common story that we can all go back to and say, like we read of the Hebrew people. And I think we've lost something in that we don't have that common story. And I wish I could tell you what it is. Because as I think of people in our country, I mean, go back in history and you'll find that, well, stories are all very different. For some, they are people who have been here for thousands of years. Their heritage is rooted in this country for thousands of years. They've not traveled across oceans to come to this place, but they have been here. And their story is marked by conquest and disease, by treaties and broken promises. For others, it was that they came to this country seeking something new, seeking freedom, seeking a new place, seeking domination, seeking conquest, who knows what. But those who came from Spain and the Dutch and the English and the French and so forth. And people in centuries since. My grandparents came to the United States when they were teenagers from Poland for the opportunity that they could find here in this country. Still others, their heritage is of a people who were forcibly brought to this country. The scars of which and the effects of which are still felt to this day, some 401 years later from when that began. And so if you sat down a group of people and say, what is our common narrative? I don't know that we would have an answer, but I wonder if there's something in it of wounding. Because in all of those stories, one thing that speaks to me is that there is pain, and there is hurt, and there is brokenness. I don't have anything written out with this. This is just sort of me just chewing on this question. Is that common story for us come out of our woundedness? And that maybe what we can do in approaching one another in this conflicted time is to start with a recognition of the woundedness that is there for each of us and approach it of how can we work to make it whole. So this today, as you're listening to this, take some time and pray about your own woundedness. Pray for the woundedness and the hurt of others, and pray for healing. Healing for us as individuals, healing for us as a community. Because we do serve and worship one who is the great healer, the great restorer. And I believe God is big enough to do that. Grace and peace be with you today.